morning, staff, scholars, and special guests. My name is Rhonda Shuford, and I am the proud principal of this school. It is my honor to welcome you to Ensley Elementary and to the grand opening of the first Ben Carson Reading Room in Escambia County Public Schools. Before beginning our program, I would like to take a moment to acknowledge and welcome some special guests. Dr. Timothy Smith, Superintendent of Schools. Sheena Payne, Deputy Superintendent. Steve Marcanio, Assistant Superintendent for Curriculum and Instruction. Our school board members, Mr. Kevin Adams is not in attendance today because of an illness. Mr. Paul Fetzko, School Board Member, District 2. Mr. David Williams, School Board Member, District 3. Patty Hightower, School Board Member, District 4. And Mr. Bill Slayton also was not able to be in attendance today, School Board Member, District 5. Sabrina Cunningham, Director of Elementary Education. We also have Lisa Marsh, ELA K-5 Subject Area Specialist. Dr. Nicole Everett, ELA Michelle White, Coordinator of Media Services. We also have Keith Wasden, Director of Facilities. Tammy Greer, Executive Director of Escambia Children's Trust. We also have a representative from Michelle Salzman's office, Florida House of Representatives. And also Dr. Levi Gardner, pastor of Perdido Bay United Methodist Church. We also have Lumen May, County Commissioner, District 3. Cody Strother, Public Relations Director. And Candy Carson, who is the co-founder of the Carson Scholars Fund. And to our sponsors, Bill and Pam Fleming. Amazing opportunity and for becoming a part of the Ensley school community. Boys and girls, this week across our state, we are observing Literacy Week. Ensley Elementary is celebrating in grand style with the opening of the Ben Carson Reading Room. The Reading Room is a special place meant to make you enthusiastic, skilled readers. We created this space just for you to get lost between the pages of a book. Get comfortable, relax, and without further ado, let's begin today's festivities.
My name is Melinda Hawks. I'm one of the music educators here at Ensley Elementary. And right now, ladies and gentlemen, at this time, please rise and direct your attention to the flags for the color guard and the presentation of the colors. Please welcome the Navy Junior ROTC Color Guard from Booker T. Washington High School. Ladies and gentlemen, we remind you to remain standing for the singing of the national anthem, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance. Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming. And the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in it, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
You may be seated. We now have a poem that is written by one of our teachers, Ms. Wright, and it will be shared by some of her students.
Think Big, a poem by Miss Wright. Up I go in a hot air balloon. I don't know where I'm going, but I hope I get there soon. I have a big dream in a book in my hand. Off I go to a faraway land.
It might take a while, but I'm well on my way. Meet new people and might save the day.
I read about heroes and what they can do. Maybe one day I could be a hero too.
I'll read about space and I'll fly to the stars. I'll read about planets and pick rocks up on Mars.
Climbing tall mountains. I'll be swinging from trees. Wave if you see me on my flying trapeze. I'll be climbing up Mount Everest just to take in a view. Then have a pot of full honey when we need a poo.
I'll climb up mountains. I'll climb up mountains. This just to take in a view. Then have a pot full of honey with Winnie the Pooh.
I'm going on an adventure, but I'll be back soon. Just look at me soar in my hot air balloon.
Now we will have a reading rap written by one of our Ensley teachers, Miss Morissette, performed by some of her students. students on stage. Thank you. We will now have some fifth graders present Think Big. Wait a minute. Well, let's get the microphone. I apologize. We have to get the microphone so you can hear.
T is for talented and talent. Recognize them as gifts. H, hope for good things and be honest. I is for insight for people and good books. N is for be nice to all people. K is for knowledge. Recognize it as the key to learning. B is books. Read them actively. I is for in-depth learning skills. Develop them. G is for when Dr. Carson thinks big, his G stands for God. Everyone has their own beliefs. When you think big, what does the G stand for in your life?
Now we have a little bit to do, and we're going to see a video presented by Dr. Ben Carson.
Greetings, boys and girls, faculty members, and special guests. My name is Dr. Ben Carson. While I no longer practice medicine, for more than 30 years, I had the privilege of working as a neurosurgeon at Johns Hopkins Hospital in Baltimore, Maryland. Neurosurgeons are people who operate on the brain and the spinal cord. It's very delicate and complex work, and pediatric neurosurgeons obviously deal with children. From birth, and then sometimes even before birth, I've operated on children that were still in the mother's womb, right up until adulthood. You deal with tumors and vascular malformations and trauma and congenital anomalies and a whole series of extraordinarily complex things. But the reward is that you give people not only life, but quality life. And that's what it's all about. In addition to my work at the hospital, my wife Candy and I are the co-founders of the Carson Scholars Fund. We recognize the importance of a good education and have dedicated ourselves to encouraging young people to excel academically, expand their horizons through reading, and to develop their talents to help their fellow man. Today is a special day, and I am honored to share it with you. We are gathered to open your school's Ben Carson Reading Room. The reading room is a special place filled with hundreds of books. Magical things happen when you open a book. With a book and your imagination, you can travel the world without leaving the reading room. You can travel to space, roam the earth with the dinosaurs, or fly like a bird. You can spend time with old friends like Judy Moody, Pete the cat, or Big Nate. You can meet new friends like Elephant and Piggy, Pickalicious, the Pigeon, the Wimpy Kid. You'll find books about cats, dogs, elephants, spiders, monkeys, and numerous other animals. Anywhere you want to go, anyone you want to meet, you can do it in the reading room by picking out a good book. This room was built for you to explore history and the world through books. Harriet Tubman once said, "Every great dream begins with a dreamer." The reading room is designed to fuel your dreams and to inspire your imagination. When I was your age, I wasn't a good student and was frequently teased by my classmates about my grades and poor performance in school. I didn't like reading. I didn't like studying. I thought I was stupid. All I wanted to do was go outside and play with my friends. But, my mother was very disturbed by the fact that I was not achieving in school. And she didn't know what to do. She prayed for wisdom and came up with this idea of turning off the TV, allowing us to watch only 2 or 3 TV programs during the week. And with all that spare time, we had to read 2 books apiece from the Detroit Public Libraries every week and submit to her written book reports, which she couldn't read, but we didn't know that. But I'll tell you, she didn't dictate what we had to read. And as I started reading about people of great accomplishment, I began to recognize something. I began to realize that the person who has the most to do with what happens to you in life is you. That you don't have to be a victim of circumstance. You don't have to be manipulated by other people. That was vastly liberating to me. And I got to the point where I couldn't wait to get home to read my books. My mother would say, "Benjamin, put the book down and eat your food." I was always reading. And within the space of a year and a half, I went from the bottom of the class to the top of the class, much to the consternation of all those students who used to laugh and call me dummy. Through reading, I gained knowledge, confidence, and the desire to be successful in school and in life. A lot of people in your school and community worked hard to create this room. These people donated their time, talents, and resources because they know the importance of reading and are committed to your success. Congratulations on your new Ben Carson Reading Room. I challenge each and every one of you to do your very best, and I encourage you to read every day and to always think big.
Currently, there are over 260 reading rooms serving students in 22 states and Washington, D.C. The Carson Scholars Fund would like to express its most heartfelt gratitude to Bill and Pam Fleming for dedicating this reading room. In addition to the reading room sponsors, we would like to thank the following individuals for their efforts. These people donated their time and their talents because they know how important reading is and are committed to your success. Congratulations, Ensley Elementary School, on your new Ben Carson Reading Room.
Now I'd like to introduce Elena Wynn.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to Ensley Elementary School. At this time, Jason Proctor is going to tell you what Dr. Martin Luther King would say if he was here today.
I say to you today, my fellow Americans, somewhere down the line, we have taken the wrong road. jokes away. And let's come together as one with unity, love, and respect. This is what Dr. King would say if he was here today. Thank you.
Now we have a special song that is going to be sung by Miss Jessica McMillan with the help of Miss Morissette.
Children are our future. Teach them well and let them lead the way. Show them all the beauty they possess inside. Give them a sense of life to make it easier. Let the children's laughter remind us how we used to. Every kind of searching for a hero. People need someone to go to. Never found anyone who fulfilled my needs. Only place to be. So I learned to depend on you. I was tired of anyone's child to give my hand. If I succeed, at least know that I believe no matter what they take from me, they can't take away my being of you. Because the love is happening to me. I found it's easy to achieve. Learning to love yourself is the greatest love of all. I believe the children are future. Teach them well and let them lead the way. Show them all the beauty they possess inside. Give them a sense of life to make it easier. Let the children's laughter remind us how we used to be. I decided long ago never to walk in anyone's shadow. If I fail, if I succeed, at least I'll live as I believe. No matter what they take from me, they can't take away my dignity. Because I greatness, now is happening to me. I found the greatness, never fall inside of me.
Now, we would like to know, would Dr. Fleming and Miss Fleming like to come and make some remarks? Come on up. You can use that one or this one, whatever you'd like to do.
What a joy to be at Ensley Elementary School this morning. You look amazing, amazing. This truly is an investment in the students of Ensley. It is the first Ben Carson reading room in Escambia County, but we hope today is simply a catalyst, and other Ben Carson reading rooms will follow. You're thinking big at Ensley this morning, and we congratulate you. What a beautiful performance and presentation this has been. Your minds will be enlightened through the reading in the Ben Carson reading room. And we are honored that our precious friend, Candy Carson, has joined us. This morning, I'm going to be sharing briefly with you 3 distinct quotes. One from a noted author, one from the former First Lady of the United States, Barbara Bush, who was dedicated to children's literacy, and the third from the Old Testament. But first, Pam and I would love to thank members of the school board for your endorsement of this initiative. It was a new idea to Escambia County, and we thank you very much for embracing the concept and encouraging your team to fulfill this project. What began as an email to Dr. Timothy Smith led to a conversation with Lisa Marsh, which then led to a meeting in August with Principal Shuford and her team. When we met Principal Shuford and the team here at Ensley, we knew that this was the place. We knew that this was the program. And we had total confidence that they could fulfill this opportunity. Did we ever think that today would come as quickly as it did, with as beautiful the participation that we witnessed to date? We thank you for embracing this concept launched by Ben and Candy Carson. We believe that the spotlight is now on Ensley and Escambia County, because your peers will look to you and say, how can I have one of those? But most important, Pam and I believe that the Ben Carson Reading Room is a dream center, where through reading and the exploration of words, these students, generations of Ensley students, can dream and cast their dreams into the future. That's our hope, and that's our prayer. Well, I don't have a wrap. And I left my sunglasses in the car, or I'd be wearing them just so I could be a little more like you. But I did bring a book that I'm going to leave in the Ben Carson Reading Room. I can read with my eyes shut, says Dr. Seuss. And there's a part of this book written by Dr. Seuss that I think is so appropriate for this morning. Listen to his words. The more that you read, the more things you will know. The more that you learn, the more places you will go. Isn't that the truth? First Lady Barbara Bush said this: if you can help a person to read, then their opportunities are endless. I believe the students gathered here and viewing this program through live stream have endless opportunities because of the visions they will cast in this dream center, the Ben Carson Reading Room. And finally, from the Old Testament, your beginnings will seem humble, so prosperous will your future be. Pam and I pray that your futures will be prosperous as you continue to dream big at Ensley Elementary School. May God continue to bless this school, the parents, the teachers, and the students. Thank you very much for your presentation this morning.
And Ms. Carson, we would love for you to give some remarks if you would like to.
Good morning, good morning. This is a wonderful morning. I've already been crying a few times. I feel like I don't need to get up here. I mean, we have been inspired with all of the things that have happened so far. I thank you, bless you, students, for all you've done. Teachers and educators for what you've done in the program and behind the scenes. Bless you guys. And all the support from the community. You know who you are. You know what you've been doing. And we really appreciate what you're doing for the future of America, because our country is in serious trouble. Because you know what's going on in DC. So I thank you, all of you who are supporting from the community. And lastly, not leastly, Bill and Pam. I usually call him President Bill, because he served so faithfully and so wonderfully at PBAU, where I did play in the orchestra there. He sang in my bio, it should say that, and for some reason it didn't get in there, but thank you and bless you for all that you did for the students there and for what you continue to do for the future of America in everything you do and all that you do. So thank you. God bless you as well. As I said, I feel like I'm ready to sit down because I have been totally inspired. This is a wonderful group that you have here. This is unique to have people that work so well together, that work so hard together, and so on and so forth. But before I bore you any further with it, you guys do it all the time. The rest of us don't always hear this, and it's not in our news like it should be. I wish this could be blazoned everywhere. And actually, it's being live streamed, so we will have access to that. So I'm thankful for that. So getting on with the program, I have to ask the kids a question. You guys ever get bored? Yeah. Anybody? Nobody gets bored? Nobody? No. What can you do not to be bored, though? You raise your hands, don't you? Okay. I saw some out there. Yes. Yes, exactly. You don't have to be bored ever, right? Because where can you go when you read? Anywhere you want to go. It's so exciting. You know, the great thing about reading, and one of the wonderful things about being married to a neurosurgeon, you hear about the brain all the time. And he says that when you read, think about it. When you read, you're recognizing letters. And you're forming those letters into words. And as you read those and put those together, you're forming concepts and ideas. And then understanding, getting a better understanding of everything around you. So when you're reading, you're actively exercising your brain. Because some people say, oh, I can get everything I need to learn from TV, online, watching videos, and so on. Because you're not exercising your brain. Yeah, you gotta read. So keep that in mind as we're going. I have an amazing story about brains, but before I tell you that, I've got to tell you some other things that I've heard my husband say statistically. Did you know your brain can process 2 million bits of information every second? 2 million bits of information every second. Okay? And think about this too. Some people say, don't learn this, don't learn that, because you'll overload your brain. You really can't overload your brain, because we are fearfully and wonderfully made. If you can learn one fact every second, and that's hard to do, because it's hard to even conceptualize a fact in 1 second. The grass is green takes 2. But say for the sake of argument that you could learn one fact every second. It would take you 3 million years to start to challenge the capacity of your brain. You realize that? You can learn anything and everything. The only thing is, whatever you put in there can come back to haunt you, okay? You put bad stuff in there, well, you might have nightmares. You just never know. But the thing of it is, also, when you put facts in there, and then, your brain is active all the time. You put facts in from here, facts in from there, and so on and so forth, there can be a convergence of those facts. And you come up with new ideas, and new solutions, and new innovations. Because the people the ones that had been at toilet paper, all things. Hey, it comes in handy, right? Those who invented refrigerators. Think about that. Because there had to be a lot of things coming together to get a refrigerator. What about the car? Okay? Cars? Even the play ones, you know? Some of them you pull back and zoom, you know? So that wouldn't have happened if someone hadn't filled their brain with the right stuff and then come up with those other ideas. So we are fearfully and wonderfully made. Now let me tell you a story about one of my husband's patients. This is a little girl, about your age. She was on the swing, and she fell off. After that, she had seizures. Just started with one, and her parents were concerned. They took her to the doctor and said, you know, a lot of times after a traumatic event like falling from a swing, you'll have seizures. And they said, no, they'll go away, and then they won't be around anymore. But instead of becoming less and less, they increased. It was one a day, and then one a week, and then it was one a day, and you know, it just kept increasing. So her parents took her to the hospitals in Connecticut, where she was from. Nobody knew what it was. And went all around New England, New York, Rhode Island, and in Boston there was a doctor, an older guy, who said, you know, this looks like Rasmussen's encephalitis. And that's a disease process that's gradual, but there's no cure for it. So he just said, you know, all you can do, because there's no cure, is just take her home. Keep her comfortable, because she's going to die. Well, her parents didn't like that idea, so they started researching. They didn't have internet, so they went to the library, and they discovered some articles about my husband doing what's called a radical hemispherectomy to cure intractable seizures, which is what she had. These seizures are things where your arms and your legs are jerking uncontrollably, your eyes roll back and foaming at the mouth, that kind of thing. So they read about it, and they called, and they set up an appointment. And after they did the assessment, they discovered, well, yes, she would be a good candidate for this surgery called a radical hemispherectomy. Now, let me explain what that is. A hemispherectomy, well, first of all, your brain has two hemispheres, right? You've heard of hemispheres, you know, on the globe, right? And hemi means half. So there's the two hemispheres. Now, if there's a disease process that's gradual, then what happens to the functions in the disease part of the brain? Because children are in growth mode, the functions in the disease portion migrate over to the other side so that you can still develop, and then you can take out that half of the brain and there's no consequences because of this phenomenon called plasticity. So can you repeat that with me? Plasticity, plasticity. You say that? Okay. Now when you get home and your older brother or sister, you know, is being funky again, you can just tell them, I know something you don't know. There's a phenomenon called plasticity, where if there's something in the disease, you have a disease portion of the brain, and as this disease process grows, those functions go to the other side, and you can still remain regular person. That's plasticity. Okay, so now we got plasticity. Yeah. Okay, so that's this surgery that my husband would do with his team was something that should make it work, but when he described some of the outcomes, one of them that she might end up in a coma, when she might not wake up, she might not have all of her functions, mobile functions and those kinds of things, and that she might die. There was a very small chance. They weren't too keen on doing it because they loved their little girl and they wanted to be able to say goodbye to her. So they took her back, Seizures on All, to Connecticut, and that Christmas when she was in a play, and she was on the stage, performing, in the middle of it, she fell out on the stage and had a seizure with the arms jerking and eyes rolled back. So they brought her back to Hopkins and got her all prepped up and did the surgery, and everything went well, except for one thing. She didn't wake up. She was in a coma. And of course, her parents were beside themselves with grief because, we shouldn't have done it. We would have still had her for a little while, if we hadn't done it. And so she was asleep, and she liked Mr. Rogers. Any of you remember Mr. Rogers? You remember Mr. Rogers? Cool, yeah. Yeah, Mr. Rogers did poetry and so on. So it's like a watered down Sesame Street. Anyway, she liked Mr. Rogers. So they played his tapes and so on and so forth to a little girl while she was in her coma. She didn't wake up. A week had gone by. Mr. Rogers heard about her. He brought his puppets and his songs and his music to her bedside and played them for her. That was at 2 weeks. And she still didn't wake up. So her father was allowed to sleep in the room, in a cot, just in case, she woke up and so on. So 4 weeks have gone by, and it's 2 a.m, and she says, "Daddy, my nose itches." And he was so excited, he jumped up out of his cot, ran out in the hall saying, she talked. Only had on his underpants. But that was the start of a great, my husband tells it this way because it does break all of that tension. Anyway, but that was the start of a great recovery. But then they were concerned. The half of the brain they had taken out was the left half of the brain. And that's where logic's processed. How is she going to do in math? That little girl worked so hard over that next year. She was at the top of her math class with only half a brain. Top of her math class with only half a brain. What can you do with a whole brain and a little determination? Think about that. And sometimes you say, well, this subject's too hard. I don't understand it. It doesn't make any sense. All subjects are based on building blocks, whether it's physics or chemistry or history, or what about reading? Think about that. Say you knew all the letters except A, S, T, and E. What could you read? Would it seem hard? If you didn't know A, S, T, and E? Yeah. You plug those in, it makes perfect sense. It's the same with all your subjects. So, if you don't understand a subject, it's probably because you're missing some of those building blocks, no matter what it is, what that subject is. So you can go back to the place where you could understand it and read from there. Or you can ask anybody in this room, because we all care enough about you to put in a special room to help you develop yourself to be the best you can be. Ask any one of us. And if we don't have the answer, we'll help you find it, or we'll guide you to a place where you can find it. So keep that in mind. The person who has the most to do with what happens to you is you, because think about it. In your classroom, there's one teacher, and there's maybe 25 or 30 of you. The teacher might not recognize that you're not quite getting it, so you can go up to him or her and ask them for help. It's okay. It's just that you're missing some building blocks, and they will help you, okay? So keep that in mind. Now, I'm at the end of my talk. The main thing is remember to read, because that's important. If you read, then you will be knowledgeable about what's going on. Thomas Jefferson said that our system of government is based on a well-informed and well-educated populace. We don't quite have that there because there's been a lot of indoctrination in a lot of our schools. I don't think it's here. But because from what I see, you guys are really on top. I wish you guys could just teach everybody else how to do the right thing. Anyway, going on. But remember to read so that you can develop yourself to be the best you can be. You'll be much happier for it. And you got to thank all these people that made it possible. Remember, it wouldn't be here if you didn't have people that cared about you. So thank your teachers. Thank the principals. Thank all the educators. Thank all the people you see here who helped this to happen. It wouldn't have happened without them being concerned about you and your future. Because you can be a success, no matter what anybody tells you. Don't let anybody tell you can't do something. I mean, it's okay to listen and acknowledge that they said something, but don't take it to heart. If God puts something in your heart, you're going to be able to do it. He will help you find a way, okay? Got that? Okay, all right. High fives, everybody. Have a nice day.
Now we have some closing remarks from our media specialist, Ms. Alonzo.
Thank you all for coming to celebrate this very special day with us at Ensley. Our students will remember this day forever. They will remember how we were united for literacy and how reading and thinking big, like Dr. Ben Carson, will help them succeed. A very special thank you to Mrs. Carson, and the Flemings will be presented by our fifth graders at this time. I want to say a very special thank you to Mrs. Carson and the Flemings for this wonderful opportunity. Joining us today and sponsoring the reading room, we can't thank you enough. Reading teaches us, it consoles us, it takes us on adventures, it inspires us, it entertains us, but most of all, it makes us lifelong learners. Never stop reading, never stop learning. Think big, dream big. Thank you.
For our closing, we are going to share a song with you that tells how the Ensley students feel about the Ben Carson Reading Room. After the song, you are invited to the Media Center for our ribbon cutting. Thank you.
It might seem crazy what I might say. Sometimes each year you can take a break. Hot air balloon that can go stay. With the air like a bottom bed, baby, by the way. Because I'm happy, clap along if you feel like a room without a roof. Because I'm happy, clap along if you feel like happiness is the truth. Because I'm happy, clap along if you know what happiness is to you. Because I'm happy, clap along if you feel like that's what you want to do. Here comes bad news, talking this and that. Give me all you got, don't hold back. I should probably warn you, I'll be just fine. No offense to you, don't waste your time. Here's why. Because I'm happy, clap along if you feel like a room without a roof. Because I'm happy, clap along if you feel like happiness is the truth. Because I'm happy, clap along if you know what happiness is to you. Because I'm happy, clap along if you feel like that's what you want to do. Bring me down, can't nothing. Bring me down, the level's too high. Bring me down, can't nothing. Bring me down, sir. Bring me down, can't nothing. Bring me down, the level's too high. Bring me down, can't nothing. Bring me down, sir. 'Cause I'm happy, clap along.
Okay, there will be a ribbon cutting and a reception in the Dr. Ben Carson room starting now. If you'll follow Ms. Shuford.
Okay, I think we're going to proceed with our ribbon cutting. Thank you so much again. Yes. Thank you so much again for coming to the opening of the Ben Carson room here at Ensley Elementary. At this point, I would like to give an opportunity to our superintendent, if they would like to have a word, or the board representative, or our county commission, if anyone would like to say a few things before we do the cutting.
I know Dr. Smith's probably on his way over here, correct? And I'm on the school board, and Mr. Williams is here on the school board, and Mr. Fesco is somewhere. This is so awesome, and I just want to say to the students, what an amazing job you did. Everybody, even those on stage and those behind us, your teachers will be very proud, and so will your parents. But this is a wonderful opportunity. I love to read. I read everything I can. And when I was your age, I read all of the biographies. There used to be these little orange books. But they opened my world and made my interest in history what it is today. So thank you so much. We on the school board can't thank the Flemings enough. We can't thank Ms. Shuford enough for you for bringing it and her for embracing it. And Mr. Wasden, who on the short timeline made this happen. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, so good morning. Oh, that's not even on, okay. That's okay, you can hear me. So I am not the superintendent. Here comes Dr. Smith. I'm the assistant superintendent for
the streaming purposes.
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay. I'm the assistant superintendent for curriculum instruction. I'm Steve Marcanio. So here's what I want to say, because I want boys and girls, I want you to understand this is a collaborative effort. And what I mean by that is it took a lot of people working together to make this happen. It started with Mr. and Mrs. Fleming reaching out to the superintendent, but then Mrs. Marsh, our reading specialist, your principal, and that team. It took a lot of people working together to get all the details in place to make something great come to life. And I say that to you because that's something that your teachers are trying to teach you. As you go through school, you will hear a lot about working together as a team, focusing on a goal to help it be realized. And it's not just one person doing it. It takes everybody working together. If you can learn those skills, you will be very successful in life. Because out there in the community, when you go to work, that's what people are going to need you to do. Work together, solve problems, listen, and collaborate and cooperate with one another. So I want to thank everybody who made this possible. What an exciting opportunity and a great place to sit down and get involved in a great book. So thank you all. Thank you very much.
At this time, we would also like to have a few words from our superintendent, Dr. Timothy Smith, as well as words from Commissioner Luman May, District 3.
Well, thank you, Ms. Shuford. We appreciate all that you've done for this event and all the work you do for the school. Very, very appreciative of our board members as well. Thank you for your steadfast support. And Mrs. Carson, we are so honored that you were here, and we are deeply thankful for what you and your husband have done here with this special project and what you've done around the country. And we see that leadership, yes. Your leadership makes a difference. And as you were speaking today, I found myself thinking, wow, what an impact throughout the country Dr. Carson and Mrs. Carson are making. So we are grateful. And Dr. Fleming and Mrs. Fleming, thank you. We are grateful for your generosity, your encouragement, your support, your advocacy for the kids at Ensley Elementary, who, aren't they awesome? You all are terrific. You just know your superintendent's really proud of you. I want you to know that. But we are so grateful for what you have done here. And I really like what you said, Dr. Fleming, about there are more schools waiting for this to come to. So you are trailblazers, and we really thank you so much. We know that when our students are engaged in reading books at their proper reading level, so students, this is why the Accelerated Reader Program and other programs where you're reading books, do that. Because we know when you're reading the right level books, your reading power grows. And then one day you'll be in high school and you're going to say, oh, this class is easy because I can read. I can read well. And that impacts your writing and all kinds of other things like thinking skills as well. So this is a special day. This is an awesome day. Grateful for the community. Our vision has, the first word in our vision is united. This is unity. People coming together for our students. Really thankful for the leadership Commissioner May gives us, and thank you for being here. And I'm going to pass the microphone on to you, Commissioner. So thank you so much. We're honored to have you here.
Well, you don't even have to run for office, and you still speak, man. So, I mean, that's good. But certainly, Ms. Carson, welcome to the Western Gate of the Sunshine State. And so we're so glad that you are here and here in Pensacola, and the great work that you do and your husband. One of the first books I ever read was Gifted Hands. I read that back in 1989, 1990 to see an African American with the position that your husband had. Was one of the required readings that we had at Pensacola Junior College at the time, and that I read that book, and I'll never forget it. The Flemings, we're so glad that you left that warm weather and came to the western part of the state, and your philanthropy and your giving, we certainly appreciate it. And Principal Schubert, Superintendent Smith, thank you for the great work that you're doing in Ensley. No one can do it alone. Children Trust, the county, the city, the school board, we're all in this together. And most of all to the young people. I often say we can invest in roads and bridges, we can invest in infrastructure, we can do economic development, but the greatest investment is in human capital. It's how do we invest in our children? And you really are the future. And to Jason, Mom, he was my hero today. I love the speech from Fleming, I love that, but Jason was my hero today. And the reason he's my hero is the reason he can be a hero to his peers and to his teachers and to this community, because he inspired each of us to go and do more and to think big. So continue, teachers, staff, students, keep thinking big, keep doing the best that you can be, and the best is yet to come. Thank you so much.
As those have already spoken, the community is very much a part of this success that we are indulging in today, and it's because of our students, the students who are our future. So with that being said, we will now participate in our ribbon cutting ceremony, and after our ribbon cutting ceremony, we do have a reception in our room.
The kid will pick on it if I Tammy? Hopefully bring me in for some money. Well, I think you got 3 votes today. Well, Mama. I like the word stay position.
Personnel, Ms. Payne, Ms. Cunningham, Mr. Watson, Mr. Marcanio, District, Everett, March, White, Kreischer.
You see, I chose to sit.
Yeah.
Let's do our teachers that are here. Every teacher and staff that's here. Every Ensley teacher and staff that's here.
Hey, can you all join me in giving a round of applause to our teachers and support staff? Thank you all very much.
Got it.
You got it? Oh, you got it? Are you finished? Oh, yeah. I'm just, are we actually cutting? I'm waiting on that. Oh, we're waiting for the moment. Ready?
Mr. Boston? She would be great. She's pointing you out. Ms. Carson, did you get in any of the pictures? Okay. I'll be taken care of. We're good? Okay, well, now, which one is that? Yes. Yeah. You're right.